What's going on, Mother Truckers? Welcome to the Asian Mind Show. We have a dear friend on the show, a special guest today from around my area of the Bay Area of California. How are you doing today, Larry?
Good, real good.
Looking at this truck right here, can you give us a little bit of the specs of this truck?
Well, it was Aerodyne. Pete, they didn't use the engineers, they just really used the bullet concept. So it was kind of unique. Years later, when they got their wind tunnel, they went back to check it, and they couldn't make a truck better than this one on the Aerodyne. And that was kind of amazing. And this was the only truck that was engineered and built out of Denton. Most of the trucks came out of Newark.
So this is the only one this year?
This is the only truck that they actually engineered out of Denton. The 362 was just a overbuilt of the 352H, you know, to replace that truck because they had two different models. So, but most of that stuff was done out of Newark.
Wow! So this is a one of one.
No, they made about 1,000 of these. They sold stateside, and I think they had about 1,200 they exported to South Africa, and they actually put the steering wheel on the opposite side.
Oh wow! Really?
Yeah. So.
What year?
89. Stop it there. They didn't take off very well. Harley had a fleet of them through Ryder, like a 5-year lease. And so that's what I kind of cloned their colors. But the truck was designed to have the fairings. And these fairings were so bad I couldn't save them. Would have been a fortune, you know. So I took all the fairings off.
Yeah.
But it really should be set with fairings because it marries up to the trailer and there's no gap for the air. And that's where it gets its, its mileage. This gets probably 9.5 miles to the gallon. Phenomenal. There's two entities for Star Transportation. It was Chattanooga and Morton, Illinois.
Oh, really?
And they had a bad accident, and they put them out of business. Not far from here, Rosendale, they had a horrible accident some 20-some years ago. It pretty well cost the company. And I don't even know if Star out of Chattanooga is still around, but this is one of their trucks. You know, I grew up in Fremont, you know, right there by you there. In Fremont, you know, it was the Union City, Newark, Fremont was called the Tri-City there. And I think Pete Factory was eight miles from my house. My older brother actually worked there. So I spent a lot of time bicycling down there and seeing the trucks. And at one time, the 24 trucks were made a day, so every hour a truck was made. And the big door would roll up in the wintertime, and you see these beautiful trucks come out. And,
yeah.
And it's just something I wanted to do. You know, I just fell in love with the trucks. They're all custom to a customer, and they were all very unique, every one of them.
And that's beautiful.
Yeah,
you know?
They were all handmade. And I went around the world. I seen Mercedes. I spent time in Europe, and it just nothing comes back to a Peterbilt. You know, they're a little different now, but you know they're up there with any Mercedes, Aston Martin, any of that stuff. The Peterbilt's right up there with them.
I love that. So these days, how many Cabovers do you have, sir?
Well, it goes back to, you know, when I was a young man, I couldn't afford a Peterbilt 358, 359, 351. They were all like $20,000, $22,000, $25,000. But you go to a Cabover, and they were pretty well half that. You know, so that's where the Cabover came, was the price. I just could not afford a Pete conventional, and I ended up buying Cabovers, and my company that I worked for, that's all they had in the early days. With the length laws, see, that's the length laws is the reason we had the Cabovers, because we had to be under 55 and 65, and then 70 foot. You know, they changed it whoever the administration was, but I don't know what it is now. I guess it's 80 foot now.
Yeah.
At one time it was 55 foot, and then if you had what they called a combination tractor truck with a bed behind it, you could go 65 foot. So you saw some strange combinations to go through certain states, you know.
No, that's great. So these days, we were talking off camera, you have a couple trucks, huh?
Yeah, I've got 6 generations of Cabovers. I've got the 48, which would be the 350 bubble nose and Cabover engine. And Peterbilt in the early days, they numbered the conventional Cabover the same number, so the 350 and 350 Cabover engine would be the same, one conventional, one Cabover. And then the 2-axle would have been a 280 and a 280 conventional, 280 Cabover. And then they came out with a 351, 281, and then they came out with the 352. The 351 was short-lived because it was it just was engineered poorly, so they redesigned it a year later and came out with a 352. And they ran that for about 12 years, and then in 1970 they rebuilt the Unilight Ultralight. That particular model was a Unilight Ultralight, and in 70 they revamped it cracked out.
Yeah.
Million miles and the whole cab was cracked. So they came out in 70 and redesigned the cab and called it the pacemaker. And the pacemaker will go forever, it won't crack out.
I got to go by your shop one of these days,
Yeah.
Larry.
So you got the pacemaker. Anything. Well, you had up to 73 to get the Unilight Ultralight or the pacemaker. It was about 73 when they had changed the different models.
I'm telling you, and all these trucks that you have, they're over at your shop?
Yeah.
Maybe one of these days I could go by?
Yeah.
Tim's Body Shop?
No, Tim helps me with it. It's actually Bob Schumacher. He's been doing Pete's for 34 years, and it's not Tim, it's Bob. Bob's the guy that does the trucks.
Okay, gotcha.
And Ryder had a whole fleet of Pete's years ago, and he pretty well fixed every one of Ryder's trucks time over, many times. So he knows Peterbilt's like the back of his hand.
I can't wait to have an opportunity to go
Yeah.
over. It seems like you guys aren't too far away, right?
No,
Or no?
No, I'm just less than 40 miles. And
I might have to make a trip over there in the morning, but you might be over here. Are you going to be over here, or are you going to be over there?
No, I'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah.
But you let me know.
Yeah, no, I'll get your phone number. Maybe I can meet you there in the morning before we head out this way.
Yeah.
Would that be all right? I would love to see 6 generations of Cabovers.
Yeah, you'll have to let me know what you're going to be, when you're going to be there. I'll be here tonight and tomorrow.
Okay.
And Sunday I've got some stuff to do, but I'll be around.